What we do here is go back.
And hopefully that should be us live. Yeah, that looks good. Is there a little bit of a lag there? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. We'll soon see. Anyway, good evening everyone. This is Mike here from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. That lovely young lady over there is Kath. So if you've got any comments or questions during this live stream, please feel free to put them in the chat. And if I don't notice them, Kath will chastise me and make sure I read them for you. So if I haven't answered your question, put it towards Kath and she'll make sure I see it. So it is Tuesday the 2nd of June 2020 and here in the UK, still in pretty much semi-lockdown, well, full lockdown really I suppose, but things are starting to get back to normal. Hopefully things are starting to get a little bit more back to normal in your particular regions, and hopefully you can start getting out and enjoying the fresh air, the sunshine and all that kind of good stuff. Also, hopefully, in the very near future here in the UK, they will be reopening pretty much all retail shops, which means for a lot of us, we actually get to go out and spend some of our hard-earned, well, government money. So whatever it is you want to get, you're looking at things thinking, what can I buy? There's going to be lots of B550 motherboards and some of these new AMD processors and all that kind of stuff coming in very soon. So maybe you've got your eyes on those. But in order to finance some of these things, maybe the government didn't quite give you enough of that furlough money to quite stretch to what you want to buy. So the chances are you're going to have to maybe get rid of some of your older stuff. Hence tonight's live stream. So tonight we're going to go through discussing the pros and cons and the whys and whatnots of how to buy and sell stuff online or to people or whatever, just to keep yourself safe, secure, and make sure that you're as protected as you possibly can be in these days where pretty much most people are out to try and screw you over in some way, shape or form. Be it the person you're buying from or selling to, or even the delivery driver who takes a fancy to your belongings. Whatever it may be, there's ways that you can try to mitigate or reduce those effects. So we'll get straight into that, but first of all, we'll have a quick go through the chat and see who's with us tonight. So we've got Ghost Adder who's first in tonight. So good evening to you. We've also got Angry Doge, we've got the British Noob as always, Milch Monsters in the house, Captain Meets Adventures, and actually happy birthday to Captain Meets Adventures. I'm not sure how old you are, but happy birthday anyway. No, this isn't your birthday stream. Just in case you're thinking of it, it's not. We've got AK Liam's in the house. We've also got, I've just scrolled way too fast. Actually, what am I doing? I've got a mouse now, I can use my mouse. Tomorrow, be a review video coming out for this. This is the new Xiaomi Mi multifunction mouse, both Bluetooth and wireless. Pretty smart, pretty snazzy, looks pretty decent. So I've actually set it up on the laptop using Bluetooth, so we're all good. I had to use Bluetooth because I don't have any spare USB ports now, which maybe that's something else I need to address. But anyway, moving on. So also in the chat, who have we got? We've got ClickTech Kev, evening to you. Got Genx YT, says hello everybody. Skystalker's in the house. Matthew Bennett's in the house. Good evening to you, and thank you also. I'm not going to say what it's for, but thank you, appreciate it. AK Liam's in the house, I think I said that. Damas Mark, Steve Johnson, Andrew Sykes, Aletta Liano. Who else we got? Russell Walton, Half the Tree. And actually, some of you are in the chat at the moment. You also won CD keys from premiumcdkeys.com on behalf of us. Yeah, I've mixed that up completely. I gave away some keys on the last Saturday stream to a few lucky winners, and some of you are in the chat at the moment. So all of them have now actually had their keys and had them emailed to them within about 24 hours of us doing the thing by the time we got communications sorted and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you're all happy with your keys that you've received, and yeah, everything is all good. Okay, so yeah, Half3 says, yes, thank you, Mike. Awesome, happy days. Okay, so, oh, Captain Meets Adventure says, thanks, I am 47 in human years.
How many is that in dog?
Yeah, how many is that in dog years or hamster years? Anyway, we're moving on. Okay, so back to tonight's episode and what we're going to be discussing. So tonight we're going to be discussing ways of safeguarding yourself when you're selling stuff and things you should and shouldn't do. And hopefully you guys will also have some input and let us know some of your top tips and things that you like to do or that you insist must be done before you sell anything on either Facebook Marketplace, YouTube, no, you don't sell stuff on YouTube, eBay, Gumtree, all those kinds of things, Craigslist over in the States, wherever it is, there's always things that you should do to safeguard yourself. Now, me personally, the reason why I'm going through this is because this is my AM1 PC. This is my trusty old AM1, which is a quad-core 5350 running at a whopping 2 gigahertz, which is overclocked slightly to about 2.2. It's not exactly a rocket ship, but it gets the job done. This has been my media PC in the living room for a good few years now. And to be honest with you, it doesn't get a great deal of use. And I thought, well, maybe it's time to get rid of it. And with the new stuff coming out, maybe it's time to treat myself and maybe upgrade it anyway. So I'll be selling this on. I have put it in our Discord, so if anybody's interested and you want to buy it, it'll be in the Discord. You can check out the links in there. It's about £75 thereabouts for the PC. So if you're interested, feel free to hop over to Discord and we can have a chat about it. But essentially what I need to do is I need to clear off any of my sensitive information which is on there. But also, maybe if I sell it to someone outside of our Discord community or someone I don't know, also there's things I really do need to be sure of to make sure that the sale goes through and there's no kind of sticky issues as things go down the line. Obviously, once you've set it all up, packaged it all off, sent it off, it is completely out of your hands. The end user or the buyer can basically say pretty much anything they want, and you are, more times than not, you're liable. If you're selling on eBay, the buyer has so many rights, it's ridiculous. And you'll probably find that if you're using PayPal, PayPal will just take that money straight out of your account, put it into like a frozen section until it's resolved, or they might just even give the money straight back to them, and then you have to wait for the item to be shipped back to you. It's an absolute nightmare, but eBay really, really does favour the buyer in that particular instance, which is a real shame because eBay used to be a really great place to sell stuff, but you get so many, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, dipshits on eBay who just try it on, or even if you're selling something for basically giving it away, they'll still complain about something just so they get their money back, which is terrible. And I know most of you lot watching this are well above that kind of level, and you do things on the level, do things nicely, treat people how you want to be treated, all that kind of stuff. But there are people out there who do it. So you have to make sure that you take care of your stuff, safeguard yourself and all that kind of stuff. So one of the first things I like to do is to erase all my data. Now, ideally, if at all possible, I'll actually remove the physical storage from the computer or laptop or whatever it is. That way you don't have to worry about it too much. Some people might want to go through the hassle of trying to recover your data, which can be done. Brute force methods do take a long time, whether it's worth it or not. I would imagine most people probably wouldn't go through the hassle of that. But again, it is something that can happen. So there's ways you can do that. You can either remove the drive in its entirety and then obviously reduce the amount that you sell it for, or even just buy a brand new drive and put it in there. That, in some cases, is the best way. Buy yourself a new SSD or hard disk drive, stick it in the computer, reinstall a fresh installation of Windows. And another thing to do when you're doing this, if you're putting Windows on there and you've maybe bought a license key or whatever, take a screenshot of it, print it out, and actually package it in with the PC. So if, say for instance, the user gets it, they get it back and it's doing all kinds of weird stuff, it's crashing because they've installed loads of USB stuff and not installed the drivers or whatever it may be. Maybe they've added a new component and it's made the system unstable. Giving them a copy of your Windows license key means they can do a fresh installation and not have to be like, oh, this PC's not registered or it's not activated or whatever it may be. A quick screen grab of when you purchase the key. If you buy it from premiumcdkeys.com, shameless plug there, use the discount code Mike's Unboxing. You get 7.5% off, but when they do that, they will actually email you the key. So you'll have a record of that, so you can then quite easily print it out or even just forward it on to the end user or the person you're selling to and just say, right, this is the license key, here it is, I've passed it on to you, it's completely in your ball court. Ball court? Words is hard today, it's really hot today, I'm struggling. But anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. And also the same goes with any software. Microsoft Office, another prime example, if you're buying that, that's quite an expensive thing to replace, or at least it can be if it's something that's outside your control, the PC's with them and they say, well, it hasn't got Office on it. If you've sent them the license key, they can quite easily reinstall it if it's one of those things that you've forgotten to do, or perhaps they have had to do a reinstall and they're assuming that Office should be on there. Those kinds of things can really, really help. So just to take 5 minutes, do a quick screen grab, maybe print it out, stick it in the packaging. That way you know that you've done everything you can to reduce the impact of anything that should go wrong and you need to do a reinstallation. Pretty much every PC I sell these days, I always include a box with the motherboard, manuals, all those kinds of things, any spare parts, but also a couple of printouts, one for the Windows key, one for the Office key. And that way, should they call back on you at a later date and you have to do some repairs, maybe if it's a local person or a family member, you go to the box, you open the box up, you've got all your spares in there. Ideally, if you can, a USB key with a backup of your freshly installed operating system. That is just the icing on the cake if you can do that. Obviously, after a while, the backup will become out of date, but it can, in some cases, be invaluable because you can just stick the USB key in there, restore from a Macrium or something like that, and you're back up and running exactly as it was the day you sold it to them, which is absolutely brilliant.
Can we have a quick look at questions?
Kath says I've got to have a quick look at the questions.
Just two really. How good are Colink's power supplies?
Uh,
But I don't think you've had experience with
no, I haven't. Someone's just asked how good are Colink power supplies. Truthfully, never used one. I wouldn't even hazard a guess. I would imagine they should be okay. Colink seems to be a pretty decent company. A lot of their stuff comes, I believe, from Germany, so German stuff is generally pretty good on the whole, especially BMWs. But other than that, I really couldn't say.
And so when they use Windows license key, I can't use it anymore.
Someone's asked about the Windows license key. If you've used the key, or basically a key goes with a machine or a set of hardware or a user account. So if you install an OEM key on a PC, that is then tied to the individual hardware inside that box. Some retail keys will do a very similar thing, so if you can replace some of the parts slowly, or you can actually do a full reinstall with slightly different parts and it will sometimes re-register. Or if you buy the 100% retail version from a retail store, which is about £250 odd, that basically sticks with your user account, your Microsoft account, so you can install on anything as long as there's only one PC with that code on. But yeah, pretty much one key for one. ClickTech Kev says, so you're selling a PC then, Mike? Yeah, surprisingly. Who'd have thought it? And Skystalker said, he said dipshits. I certainly did. So let's see if there's any other questions. No, I think we're good at the moment. Okay, so that as a starting point is a really good thing to do. Like I said, new hard drive if you can, or a new SSD, fresh installation of Windows with the license keys is a really, really good option. A lot of the time you'll find that Windows has actually kind of registered itself to the actual hardware. So if you look on your system, if you go into Windows, right click, choose settings, and then go into, system, it will say that this PC is licensed with a digital license, something along those lines, which basically means that the OEM key or whatever is actually attached to the hardware inside rather than a username and password, that kind of thing. Hopefully that makes sense. So other things you can do, which are really, really important. Oh, I thought a PC had died, hasn't died. Still for sale. Another thing to do is to make a note of serial numbers. So what you can do is open up your PC, which really, to be honest with you, if you're selling a PC, it's probably a good idea to do this anyway. So take,
Still on?
yeah,
You know that,
yeah, it's still on, yeah. Kath's a bit worried in case I break something or break myself. So a really good idea is to take photographs of serial numbers and possibly some of the parts as well. If it's a high value or high... you bastard. I said bastard and dipshits, that's it, demonetised. I just saw my reaction then, good one.
It was good.
I'm going to get you back for that. So inside your PC, I'll just tilt this up so you can see it. There's lots and lots of different components inside. In this particular one, actually, there's not that many components. So you've got motherboard, power supply, cooling fan, some RAM, that kind of thing. But we've got our SSD here, which as you can see straight away is actually nice and easy to do. So you can actually get to see the barcodes and serial numbers on there. So a really good idea before you sell it on, just to make sure that no one's trying to scam you, is to grab a phone, which most of us tend to have these days, or if you haven't got a phone, grab a camera and just quickly go along.
Wait.
All right, we'll wait for that. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel and don't understand what the heck is going on, when the RGB disco ball goes off, that means we've had a super chat. Now, super chat is a way of getting a message to me directly and for us to take a little bit of notice. And also, it's a good way of us pausing what is going on in the stream. Kath has to get up and turn the lights off, all that kind of stuff, which is good exercise for her because of lockdown, obviously, can't get it very much. But this is really good. So if we get a super chat, RGB comes on, and luckily, Sky Stalker, one of our very, very regulars and very high contributor to the channel, has given us 10 Canadian dollars. Sorry, Freudian slip there. Thank you very much. British Noob says he's unsubbing for too much swearing. Damn. Okay, so back to what we were saying. So we've got the serial numbers here, which is nice and easy to get to. So go into your Photos app on your phone and just quickly take a picture. Try and get the one a little bit further back so you can get the whole thing in. So it's a quick photo, and then get a real good close-up of that serial number. So now what you can do is, after the event, what you can do is you can look on it, you can see you've got your photo, and you've got your serial number, so you can blow it up, and if someone says, well, the hard drive that you supplied me doesn't work, you say to them, well, okay, can you tell me the serial number on the hard drive, please? Or give me a picture of the hard drive, whatever. That way, it safeguards yourself. There was many times back in the day where people would buy a processor. The Athlon XP range was always a prime one because people used to over tighten the coolers on them and actually damage the cores because they didn't have a heat shield over the top of them. So you get a damaged Athlon XP processor, but luckily most of them had a model number on there. Not all of them had serial numbers on. So what we did in the shop is we got a UV pen and we actually physically wrote on our own serial numbers. So we had like a register of all the processors, so we know which ones we sold and which ones, and basically who bought them. So if someone turned up kind of a couple of months later, oh, I've got this processor, it doesn't work anymore, and you look at it and it's got chipped cores, you get the UV pen, UV lamp rather, shine over it, no serial number, no, sorry mate, it's not one of ours. And that can safeguard you and also save you a load of money, because then if you did do a return on that and then you had to RMA it, you send it back to the supplier and they say, well, we never sold you this. So it's little things like that, taking serial numbers, using a infrared marker pen, ultraviolet pen, just write your serial number on it, even write your postcode on it, whatever it is, the date you bought it, whatever you want to do, whatever's memorable to you, just write it on the component. It won't do any damage to the component, as obviously if you don't write it on things like the pins, which would be stupid, but if you put it in a sensible place, it isn't going to cause you any problems, and also it can save you a ton of money. So what you can also do as well, I'm actually going to turn this off now, so Kath doesn't say bang. We'll wait for that to shut down a moment.
Have a quick look at the questions. It's only really doing this.
Ghost Adder says no option to donate 28p. Unfortunately, no. Sorry. Alessa says she's unsubbing, not enough swearing.
No.
Captain Meets Ventures says I sub for the swearing. Yeah. Swearing is a very divisive thing. Okay, so the PC's shut down now. So what we can do is we can open up things a little bit further. Now, another thing you could do is if you were, well, it depends on your frame of mind and what kind of, if you're making any margin on the PC or whether it's just one of those things you just want to get rid of, you're sick of the sight of it. A really good idea is to actually take the processor off the motherboard and give it a new coating of thermal paste. Two reasons for that. One, obviously, it's going to help with the longevity of the processor. So if someone turns around and says, well, the machine's overheating or something, if in the back of your mind you're thinking, well, I wish I should have changed that thermal paste, because then you'd know if it's kind of an issue with that. It's just, again, it's about limiting, that's a new word. It's about limiting your kind of accountability, I suppose it would be, essentially. So there's the SSD, nice and easy to get to.
There's a few questions.
Kath says I've got to look at the questions. Go on.
Dennis Mark, I'm literally...
Donna says, I'm literally writing an ad on Gumtree to sell a pre-build and YouTube notification on my mobile pops up, so I'll listen to this first. You might not find anything of any use in here, but you're more than welcome to.
And Danny 2, if you completely format the drive, will the license key in the drive be removed as well?
Nugent says, if I completely format the drive, will the license key in the drive be removed as well? Yes, it will. The association of the license key with the hardware won't be removed because that's at Microsoft's end on their servers, their activation servers, but the actual physical key that you would normally type in, you will lose that. So again, another thing you can do is there's programs like Magical Jelly Bean, or Jelly Bean Key Finder, I think it's called, or Magical Jelly Bean Key Finder, something like that. I did a video on it ages ago, which I'll probably link in the video description later. But you can run that and it will actually go through the system and it will search out your license key. So that's another good thing. If you haven't just bought a license key, but you're selling a PC that has a license key on it, then get the key finder and just make a note of it and write it down, print it out, whatever, before you format the drive, so that when you need to then reinstall, you can then put your key back in. Obviously, the cost, or the low cost of keys these days, for Windows is not really that much of a hassle if for some reason it doesn't reactivate by itself, which some PCs will. As soon as you start installing the drivers, go to the Microsoft servers, there's a 50-50 chance that it's going to just reactivate by itself with very little user intervention. Anyway, oh yeah, that's what I was doing. So as part of our process of registering or logging our components, so again, if you want to be really kind of anal about it, you can take out the RAM sticks as well, just to make sure, if you're selling lots of PCs, then possibly this is a good idea. So take out the RAM sticks, and again, get your camera and get a reasonable close-up, just so you can see your serial numbers. And there we go, snap a picture. So then also, if you put this in a folder or something, in your kind of sold folder on your PC, you've got a record of it all. If you use your phone, if you've got Google Photos, you get unlimited storage there, so you can keep it all there without it kind of cluttering up your PC. It's a really good way of doing it. And also, if you do it on Google Photos, it's really easy to share stuff. So if you do get an issue where someone says, well, hang on, you said this had XYZ and it hasn't, you can say, well, this is what I sent it with, and you can show them physical pictures of what you've supplied the PC with, which, like they say, a picture says 1,000 words, and in cases like this, it can really, really do that and actually save you a lot of money and a lot of hassle as well, because there's so many people out there that will literally just try anything on to get their money back, or it's just to get a slight reduction. Quite often they'll turn around and say, well, it didn't have that, but if you give me £20 back, we'll say no more about it. In this case, I can prove it. I can say, no, this is what was in the machine when I sent it. If you've got something different in there, it's nothing to do with me, take it up with the postal company. Which then takes me on to another part of...
Like they're going to replace...
yeah, like they're... Well, stranger things have happened. Again, actually, while the PC's open, another thing you can do as well is just take a picture of it, take a picture of the motherboard. Now, this particular one, luckily, actually, I can see the serial numbers on the side of the board, so I don't have to take it all the way out. And I've just taken a picture of the desk. That wasn't a good thing to do. So I can take a picture there. Got a serial number there. You could, again, like I said, take the heatsink off the processor, take a picture of that. Again, depends entirely how far you want to go with it. You could take it all out, repaste it, all that kind of stuff. The world is your lobster, as they say. Go as far as you want to. But I think for me, pretty much that is all I need to do on there. So as far as I'm concerned, hardware-wise, I'm pretty much good to go. I don't think there's any serial numbers on the base of this. You could also, if it's got a separate power supply, like this particular one, it's got a separate power brick, which again has serial numbers on. So actually, we could do that as well. We could take a quick picture of that. And there we go, we got that. Smack half.
Kev asked if anyone else is losing audio. But that sounds alright.
No, I always sound like this. It's called Bristolian. I think my audio is okay. Okay, there we go. So I think that's... Bunty Dread says I have one of those cheap Chinese 1,000-watt blowers, great for taking out a used PC and getting rid of the dust. That's also a really good thing to do. Yeah, literally, take the whole thing outside, give it a good blasting with the air duster. One thing I also quite like to do as well, there's a product I quite like using. This is actually from the car manufacturer, well, the car industry, but it's from Sonax, which is a German company, and this is called Clear Glass. But this is actually really, really good for removing any stains on anything, but also removing tobacco smells. So if you're in a home where there's tobacco usage, this actually specifically states, it says, for the car and household, removes insects, dirt, and nicotine instantly for interior or exterior use. I find this to be brilliant. Just give it a little spray. You see, I've used a lot of this, I need to get some more. But just give it a little spray onto a cloth and just give it a wipe around inside. So if you are in a house where maybe you've got like an open cooker, a stove of some sort, wood burner, or there's people who smoke or vape, that stuff gets everywhere. So just give it a little wipe around and make sure that everything's nice and clean. Also, this does have an antibacterial element as well because of it's got quite a high, what's the thing they put in window cleaning? Kind of thing. Ammonia. It's got quite a high ammonia count, which is like an alkali or acid or whatever. I don't know the technical stuff, but it's actually really good for killing germs and stuff as well. So you need to give the whole thing a wipe down. And there's somebody I know called Chris, who is a Sonax master trainer here in the UK and does courses on how to use Sonax products on motor vehicles. So Chris, if you're watching this, don't have a heart attack, sorry. Sorry to use your beloved products in this way. And this is probably not the best thing in the world to do with a cloth, but just gently give it a clean. Should be fine, just don't rub it like crazy because you'll generate static, which is never a good idea. So that is pretty much all you can do interior wise. Give it a clean round, and actually if I go and sniff it now, it smells lovely. It smells like a new PC. Well, it smells like a new PC crossed with ammonia. It's kind of ammonia, but it's got something else in there, which is like a cleaning agent. It's got that, you know, when you use a carpet cleaner and you give you that shampoo and you got that kind of that clean smell. It's kind of like that. So again, if someone's buying something off you and you are in one of those things, you maybe got cats, dogs, rats, mice, whatever it is you've got pet-wise, they do leave odours and stuff like that, and it's not always nice for the next person to turn on the PC as soon as it gets warm for all those smells to start recirculating again. So yeah, grab yourself a bottle of Sonax clear glass and actually you can really help yourself. And even if you want to use that at home, just grab some. It's great. I use it on the monitors and everything, keyboards, mice to wipe things down, especially with the whole COVID thing. It's really good for cleaning. And I think it removes most germs. I don't know for sure. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe someone will correct me on that. Kath says I've got to look at something. Skystalker says, holy Mike, you must have an amazing filing system if you sell a lot of PCs. Well, the truth is, I don't really sell a lot of PCs. And things that I do sell, like to you guys on Discord and stuff, I do keep a record of that sort of stuff, but most of it's actually on the Discord anyway. So unless I delete it, because it's our server, it's still going to be there. So if anything ever needs to happen that way, the stuff I do sell elsewhere, friends, family, I generally don't go quite as overboard. But if I have to send something to somebody who I don't know, or someone I'm meeting for the first time, I will always take those extra precautions just to protect us both. So anyway, that is the PC side of it done.
Is that for Kevin Holmes, did you say?
No, I don't think so.
He says he sells quite a few PCs, but never takes photos of any serial numbers. He just trusts people.
Right, that is really trusting. If you're selling PCs, I think it's probably because I worked in the PC shop, and people assume that because it's a business, that it's a kind of thing you can just afford to give refunds or give stuff away or replace stuff, whatever the case may be. People don't always understand that someone ultimately is having to pay the price for that, whether it's future customers or whatever. But yeah, well, you don't have to do it. It's entirely up to you. I would love to be super trusting to everybody and not have to do it at all ever. But even nowadays, when I'm sending things back, if a company sends me something for review, say for instance Zotac, that's a really good example. They send graphics cards, which are generally quite expensive single tag items. So I will take a picture of the serial numbers, and also when I send it back to them, I'll send it via the post office. So I know I'm physically taking it to a post office, or I'll get a courier to come and collect it from me. I'll get the courier to sign for it, and also I will insure that package for slightly over what it's actually worth as a retail product. So if for some reason, like if I'm sending back an RTX 2070 or something like that to Zotac, which is a relatively desirable item, even though I've packaged it well and disguised what is actually in there, you never know. Someone might go through it and decide they want it or recognise the kind of weight and shape or something like that. If it goes missing, Zotac are going to come around to me and say, Mike, what gives? Where's the graphics card? So I can turn around and say, well, look, here's the tracking number for the postage. If you haven't had it, I do apologise, but I've done everything I can to get it to you safely. Here's the tracking number and the insurance details. I will make a claim, or you can make a claim, whichever you want to do. So that way everyone's covered, and they will get the money back, or I'll get the money back and pay up for it, that kind of thing. Obviously that doesn't happen all the time, but it's like car insurance. You don't go out and have a bang in your car every day, but you still buy insurance for that one time that it might happen. So for me, it feels like it's an insurance against things going wrong. Again, entirely up to you. British Noob says, Mike always takes extra precautions with me. I do, but that's not how you spell precautions. But it's close, I think. Is that wrong? Have I just, is that wrong?
That's what I said.
What, you said is wrong?
No,
All right.
I read it as that.
Precautions.
I said you don't with me.
I think that's right. We'll go along with that.
Why is all the cheap 144 hertz monitor?
I'm not too sure about that.
Oh, Daniel Allencar, can you recommend me a good budget 144 hertz monitor?
Monitor-wise, I'll answer that question. I'll answer some of these questions as we get later on through. I'll get this out of the way, and then we'll do a general Q&A. That way everyone's happy, and I'll get this out of the way then. For those people that have just tuned into this stream just to see what I'm doing with this, which probably both of you have. So let's put this all back in again. Take notes of serial numbers. What I'm going to do as well, I won't do it during the stream because it's probably a little bit long-winded process, but I'm actually going to go in and erase this drive in its entirety, and then I'm going to do a fresh install of Windows. Again, there's no point in me doing a fresh install of Windows. This isn't the Kerry Holzman show. I don't want to sit here for 3 hours waiting for that to happen. And because this is slightly older hardware, it would probably take a long time anyway. But you get the general idea of what I'm trying to achieve here. So basically what I'm trying to do is safeguard myself, also have the knowledge that the parts that I've got or that I'm selling are in working order, and keeping a record of it all. It can be really useful. Also as well, sometimes if, say for instance, someone's bought something and there's some kind of fraud activity, maybe it's a stolen credit card or whatever the case may be, you can get it where you've actually accidentally bought stolen goods. Now, in the eyes of the law, if you buy stolen goods, you're classed as a receiver of stolen goods, and you can actually get done for it. So again, if you keep as much information about the sales history and the discussions as you possibly can, if you've taken as many efforts and precautions as you possible, like for a normal human being to do without checking serial numbers against the register and all that kind of stuff, you can actually kind of, well, have that element of doubt or whatever removed, so the police will be like, okay, fair enough, you bought it in good faith, etc, etc. Kath's got her hand up.
David Aitken said, top tip, don't post computers with super large graphic cards installed. Lots of stress on the PCIe.
Yeah, actually David is raised a good point now. If you're selling a PC and it's got a super big graphics card, like a big old triple fan job, because of the weight of the graphics card during transit, if you've got a slightly less cautious driver or sorting center, quite possibly that card can get ripped out of its slot and either destroy the card, destroy the board, and obviously if it's bouncing around inside the case, you've got a tempered glass window, it can be an absolute nightmare. So one thing I would suggest, actually, I've done quite a few cases that we've reviewed, which I've then passed on to other Discord members, viewers of the channel. A really good thing to do is if you've got like an old t-shirt or an old towel, anything like that, ideally if you can, that kind of, yeah, or a cat, bubble wrap is the best thing to use because it's very lightweight and obviously it gets thrown into the sea, and Greta hates all that stuff. So if you can, use bubble wrap and pack out the inside of your PC with bubble wrap. That way everything should, fingers crossed, stay where it's meant to be. But if you haven't got that, the paper that Amazon sends you, the cardboard style paper, that's really good. Scrunch that up into balls, throw it inside the empty PC, and then if there's anything that might sort of bang around, quite often with a PC you'll get like a little box with your hardware, your mounting accessories, that kind of thing, and if for some reason that went flying around the case, or a hard drive caddy, anything like that, can quite easily damage that tempered glass window. All it takes is a knock on the side and those glass panels can break quite easily if they're just caught in the wrong place. So yeah, a little bit of bubble wrap in there, an old towel, an old pillow, cut up an old pillow and chuck in the insides of that.
Any of your old rubbish, really.
Yeah, any of your old rubbish that the council won't take away, a couple of gallons of used motor oil, that kind of stuff, just chuck it all in there, it'll be absolutely fine, no one will mind. But things like that, again, if you're selling a PC case and you're selling it off a little bit cheap because you just don't want to get rid of it, the last thing you want is for when the person gets it, for it to be damaged, and then them turn around and say, well, you owe me a case, or I want my money back. Because then not only have you spent money on shipping, you spent the money you've probably made from the case as well, and also then you've got to buy another case or give them a refund. So it ends up being a real loss leader. So the best thing to do is to protect your interests. It's common sense if you think about it. You always hope that nothing's going to go wrong, but if you plan for things to go wrong, when they do, it doesn't bother you and it doesn't cause you major grief.
Noob don't like you bullying him over his spelling. He can't help being bad at it.
Sorry about your spelling, Noob. I'm the one to talk. I can barely speak, let alone type and talk and do those other things that humans do. Right, let's turn this back on. I did realise actually after when I did this, I was going to do the full reset and show you how to go through it, but I then realised that I don't actually have an Ethernet connection or a spare Wi-Fi adapter to actually get on the internet so it can download the updates. So that is part of the reason I'm doing it, because basically I didn't plan this episode very well at all. It happens. It does happen. Okay, so let's have a quick look at some of your comments there. ClickTech Kev says, it's okay, it's my fault. My mouse was linking itself to the volume on YouTube. Ah, of course, yeah. If you're in that and you've used a scroll wheel, it can actually do that, I think. Alexa says, excuse me, does this rag smell like chloroform? Not that I'm aware of.
That's because you were smelling that stuff.
Yeah. King of Life says, hey, Mike. Hey, King of Kife. Sorry. Reading isn't my thing, as I chastised Noob about just now. Ricardo says, which compound is that? Not sure which one. Oh, you on about this? The Sonax spray. It's Sonax Clear Glass. It's really good. Does amazing jobs on windows, and in the car it's even better. This does sound like a Sonax advert. I do apologise. The cleaning compound, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so postage-wise, postage. Don't cheap out on your postage. Now, I'm probably the worst person to say that now, because when we were sending out the Mike's Unboxing t-shirts to our Discord, sorry, to our patrons, basically if you're a patron and you pledge $10 or more, you get a free Mike's Unboxing classic t-shirt, very much like this one here. And it doesn't matter where it is in the world you are, $10 is what it's going to cost you for the pledge, so you'll get a t-shirt. Now, unfortunately, one of those members was our good friend Skystalker, who lives in the good old Canada, and the postage for the t-shirt was like, what was it, £5.30 or something, wasn't it, I think? Was it £5.30? And that was the very, very cheapest one. Kath did phone me, I think, at the time saying, oh, do you want it registered or tracked or something? And they wanted like 15 or 20 pounds to track it, and it's like, the t-shirt's not really worth that much money, so maybe if it goes missing, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, that is one of those risks that I don't like taking. But Skystalker is an awesome guy. He helps out the channel massively. Yeah, it did take ages to get there. So it's one of those things where, again, look at the pros and cons of what you're doing. If you're selling something which is, I don't know, like a £1 screwdriver and you're sending it, there's really not much point tracking it or getting a receipt for it or anything, because it's £1. Most people can afford to refund £1 or lose £1.
Postage receipt insures you up to 25 or something.
Yeah, if you're in the UK, a standard postage receipt, so if you send something for the post office and you say, can I get a receipt for that? That is insured, I think, for like £25, £28 or so, isn't it, I think?
Might be more.
Might be slightly more now, we're not entirely sure, but in around the sort of £20 to £30 mark. So you may not be aware of it, but that is insured anyway. Kind of, you can make a claim against the Royal Mail if something went wrong. So you don't always necessarily have to have it registered or signed for, any of that stuff. As long as you get a receipt for it, a postal receipt, then that is proof and you can make a claim. Not always easy to do it that way, but it can be done. Peter Suarez says, hit the like button. That's a fantastic idea. You should definitely do that. Let's give us a like spike. Who else we got? Aidan Ryan 458 says, well. Nice to see all of you lovely people in the chat tonight. Yeah, I know it's a weird night to do a stream on a Tuesday evening. It's not really midweek, is it? So we're not quite over that hump. But for most people at the moment on the furlough thing, every day's a Saturday, so. David Aitken says, no Mike's Unboxing t-shirts should be used for transport purposes. Yeah, I'm going to have to put that actually in the terms and conditions. If you are a patron and we send you a t-shirt, you're not allowed to use it as a packing material. Kevin Holmes says, use a heat pack, self-expanding heat pack. That's a really good idea. It is a little bit on the expensive side, but again, if you're selling a high-end PC and you've got a high-end graphics card in there and you want to get it there in one piece, then heat pack is actually a really good shout. Captain East Finish says, Mike, what is the PC working on there? What is the PC working on there?
Yeah, does it mean what is that PC?
Oh, what is that PC? This is the one I'm selling. If anybody wants it, shameless plug. £75, Windows 10 Home Edition, 2 sticks of RAM which have been cleaned with Sonax. It's a quad-core AMD AM1. It's almost a classic actually, a modern day classic. It's not overly powerful, it's got built-in Radeon 5450 graphics or something ridiculous. It is by no means a power horse, but it's got HDMI output as you can see, and I used it for watching TV in the front room when the family are around, that sort of thing, watching Amazon movies, and for that sort of thing, it's absolutely fine. Browsing, ordering pizzas on Pizza Hut, definitely worth doing, and that is another reason why we are going to have to erase the hard drive, because we're signed in to probably Pizza Hut, what's the other delivery? Just Eat, and all those kinds of things. So basically all the food delivery services we're probably logged into on this box, so that is one reason why we're going to have to do it. But it's
have to get rid of it 'cause I'm on diet.
It is an amazing little PC, it really is, and it is absolutely silent. The only thing... No, I can't hear anything. Even with the fan going, even at full blast, the little Arctic freezer fan in there, you can't hear a thing, and it's got an SSD, so there's literally one moving part in there, and that is the fan on the CPU, which you can't hear. So yeah, it's brilliant for that purpose. Absolutely brilliant. Ben Shields says, hi Mike and Kath, hope you're both well. Yeah, you too, Ben.
Ricardo, I think it was.
Yeah.
Ricardo was asking about the Zotac cards, are they good?
Zotac cards? Yeah. Dude Evolution 78 says, at Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, I just found out that Zotac's a partner or subdivision of NVIDIA, so the graphics cards are generally good. Zotac are a close partner. They're not a subdivision of NVIDIA, but they are very, very closely linked to NVIDIA. They do work. They were given a choice years ago whether to go down the NVIDIA path or to do both AMD and NVIDIA, and they chose to stick with NVIDIA, and it seems to have worked out really well for them. Zotac, I'm trying to think who it is. Zotac have another brand as well, like a sub-brand, which is like a cheaper alternative. I can't think for the life of me what it is. But it's one of those ones where you think, oh yeah, I've heard of them, but you wouldn't assume that they were part of that whole kind of umbrella company. I'll see if I can remember it by the end of the stream, probably not. Skystalker says, I use my Mike's t-shirt as a monitor dust cover. Ha! I wear the other. That's true, yeah, because Skystalker's got two. Actually, Sky, while you're on there, I know this is probably off topic, but which of the two t-shirts is the better quality? The first one you bought or the one that we've just sent you? I forgot to even ask that. British Noob says, I'm fully enjoying this stream. Well, that's very, very decent of you. Oh, actually, I know, whilst you're enjoying the stream, I am gonna... No, that's not the mouse I'm using. These aren't the mice you're looking for. This is my... I'll tell you what, actually, Logitech keyboard. I did a review of this ages and ages ago, like when we first started the channel, wasn't it, Kath? And I think it's still on the same batteries. But this thing's brilliant. One of these, Logitech, what was it? K800? No, K400 Plus. One of these, with that, is brilliant, because you can just sit on the settee. It's got a built-in mouse pad. Just...
As long as you've been to specs.
It's brilliant.
First.
Yeah. What, to see this screen, or to see the screen?
To see the screen.
Yeah.
If you're blind like me, you can't.
Yeah. Even with a 42-inch TV, you do have to sort of peer it a little bit. Anyway, so if you want to reset your PC, it's nice and easy to do. All you have to do is go into settings, and you can type in the settings. Actually, let's go the other way. I think you can do it from updating security, if I remember rightly. That's right. Where are we? Go into the home section, go into recovery, And you've got options there, so you can reset this PC, go back to a previous version of Windows 10, and more recovery options. But we're going to do this, reset this PC. And you get to choose of keep my files or remove everything. So remove everything, and there we go. It says this won't take long. That is literally all you need to do. So let that do its thing. I can carry on about my normal business, and I think it's so silent. It's a shame, really. I am very, very tempted just to take the motherboard, processor and RAM out and get another ITX board in there. I actually really fancy one of those ASRock desk minis at the moment. I'm very torn. There's a lot of stuff going on in the market at the moment which I'm really torn about which way to go. Which is why if someone offers me the right money for that and let's sell it, that makes my mind up for me. That's it, that's the job done then. We'll see. Dude Evolution says, I'm using a Logitech K400R model. I like it a lot. Yeah, they are brilliant. They are brilliant.
Skystalker prefers the first one.
Skystalker prefers the first one? Now that does surprise me. I'm trying to see where it says. Oh, Ben Shield says, I also use the K400. It's great. Awesome. David Aitken, Mike is selling his own knockoffs. Brilliant. Yeah, I am. Well, the first lot we did were from T-Mail, was it, Kath?
No, the first lot was from what you're wearing.
Oh yeah, the first lot we did were from Workwear Express, which I have made up and we gave out to sort of local people and people we work with. But then we thought, well, we might as well get some company involved, so we did T-Mail, I think it was. But then,
Yeah.
or was it T-Mail or Teespring, one of the two. And it ended up like for poor old Skystalker, I think it was like something like $500,000 Canadian dollars for a t-shirt, which as soon as I heard that, it's like, no, we can't do this. We've got to take control of this because that is ridiculous. The amount of money they charged for a t-shirt was insane.
Postage, to be honest.
And it's not as if like we're making any money out of it. So I thought, right, let's do a Linus. Let's do it all in-house. So now I went to Workwear Express, done a bigger order, got the pricing down a little bit. And actually these t-shirts, I wear these t-shirts literally every day. And I've got about 6 of them, like one for each day of the week and one day off. But I still wear them anyway. And even though they've been washed like 50 to 100 times each, they still actually are pretty good. They do fade a little bit, but black t-shirts do. But these are much, much cheaper for us to buy. And we make it much, much cheaper for you guys to get them. If you want one, that is. Although, I'm kind of wishing I got white ones now for the summer, so they're a bit more heat reflective. Yeah, I am doing my own knockoffs. That's terrible. How can you do your own knockoffs? That's an awful thing to say. Skystalker says, yeah, almost 60 Canadian bucks. That is scary.
But judging by the postage to send in one of ours, that might be what it is.
British Noob says, I own a K400. It's good enough that I don't like typing much on the actual keyboard. Actually, yeah, the keyboard itself on the K400 is very similar to a laptop style one. The keys are quite closely spaced as well, and there's not a massive amount of travel. Oh, should be keeping an eye on this. So additional settings, so you're getting a message saying just remove your files. This is quicker but less secure. So you can do a secure wipe, but I think many people are going to want to try and get back into it. So I'm going to just click on next, and that'll wipe the drive. Happy days. Brabants says, sweet, finally built my first PC and it runs good. Awesome. Good, good, good. Yeah, so actually I'm going to have to read what else did I put in the description of the video, Kath, that I haven't discussed yet? I'm going to have a look it up myself now.
Why?
Because I can't remember what I wrote.
Oh, what you need to do?
Yeah, I made a load of notes, which well, yeah, it's very unlike me. Normally I just shoot from the hip. So let's see, live. This is where professionalism goes straight out the window.
Sky says both are very good, but you asked him to make a choice.
All right, okay, no, that's fine. I'm really pleased that you found the T-Mail one to be good. I didn't find it quite so good. I found that
You liked it, it was lightweight.
it was lightweight and it had a better fit, but it didn't have any longevity. So after about 10, 15 washes, it just started falling apart, which I didn't think was particularly good,
It
especially
didn't fall apart, it was the wording crap.
the wording did, yeah. Okay, so just to recap some of these tips that I'm supposed to be giving you, but it's so hot in here. It really is hot in here today. I'm finding it difficult to concentrate. So record all the serial numbers where possible. Definitely do that. Take some pictures. It's a really good idea. Testing items as well. So if you're selling individual items like a graphics card, definitely do like a benchmark on it, a couple of Furmark runs, and if you can, record it. Get some video evidence. Ideally, if you can, with a date stamp on it. That's a really good one to do, because that's a little bit indisputable. People can't really dispute a timestamp. If you've got a picture of an Internet Explorer window open with like today's news on, although at the moment today's news is exactly the same every day. COVID-19, that's all we hear. So yeah, that's probably not the best thing to do. But again, just a snapshot, today's date, and the item you're selling. That's really helpful. Get that photographic evidence. Like I said, clean everything thoroughly inside and out, so make sure it's all clean, crisp, and looks nice. Doesn't stink of cats, dogs, fags, whatever it may be. Vape residue. Vape residue is actually really, really kind of toxic to components as well, because it's got that kind of oily texture to it, and then dust sticks to that as well, and it's just not great. So try and clean that stuff off. If you can, get some electrical contact cleaner and just spray it all over and then let that evaporate. That'll do a really good job as well. Erase any data and remove storage devices. So if you've got personal data, obviously like I'm doing here, restart the PC, which it's been asking me to do. So restart the PC, get rid of your data off it. If you want to do it securely, you can do. There's various ways you can do that. Windows will actually let you do a kind of semi-industrial wipe on the drive if you want to. If you're using an SSD, doing those kinds of wipes where they overwrite sectors numerous times, you are actually reducing some of the lifespan of your drive. So the last thing you want to do is spend hours overwriting a drive for it to then fail almost instantly when the person gets it. So secure wiping, personal preference. I probably wouldn't, if I'm completely honest, just to reduce the wear on the drive. So like I said before, use a recorded method of delivery and insure the goods in case they go missing. I put in class they go missing. Terrible. And I had to go at poor old noob about his spelling, and I am absolutely horrendous. But yeah, recorded delivery, sign for, get some insurance. If it's a high value, high ticket item, you don't want to be out of pocket for it. And again, if you're doing it for eBay, sites like that, it's very, very difficult to get your money back. If you're doing it through Facebook Marketplace and you do like a PayPal transaction, still with that, you may not have a case. They might just take the money off you. So do yourself a favor, get it insured. Another thing as well, if you're selling or buying bits, make sure that when you're buying it or looking at the pictures on Facebook, that there's a picture of it and that there's like today's date written by it and their username rather than just like a generic stock image. Many, many times on eBay especially, companies will come on, try to sell a graphics card, especially like a high ticket item like RTX 2080s, those kind of things, high-end processors, Threadrippers, i9s, that sort of stuff, with very, very good looking prices but minimal feedback. So they've done that, they've got a stock image, no dates, no nothing, no serials, and they're doing like a buy it now. And normally that is like a payday loan effectively. So you pay the money, you think you're going to get a processor, they send the money into there, and it comes back.
Glenn's going, he's got an early one.
Oh, sorry Glenn, gonna miss you, mate. See you later. Don't stay up too late.
He won't because he's going.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. You might feel compelled to come back. You might miss it. I doubt it. Anyway, so payday loans, that is what some unscrupulous people will do. They need the money quickly, so they'll put something for sale on eBay or whatever, get a load of people buying it, so they get a load of money in their account. They can then pay their bills or whatever it is, buy their car tax, buy the shopping, and then by the time that you haven't received your item, because it didn't exist in the first place, then eBay or PayPal will try and get the money back. By that time, quite often that person will have kind of disappeared or closed the account or whatever. So
You get your money
yeah,
back.
you get your money back eventually, but it's a pain in the backside because you've already spent out money on the thing you wanted and you've missed out and you feel gutted for it. And you've also been conned as well, which is not a nice feeling. So just be really wary. If it's a stock, be really wary. Wow, that's hard. Be really wary. Jonathan Ross is in the house. Be wary of these things happening to you. So just be suspicious, especially for these higher ticket items, because they can be a little bit dodgy. What else we've got? So, yeah, another thing, make sure that if you're doing it on Facebook or you're doing it for a private messaging sort of thing, make sure you agree on a price and you're pretty much firm on that price, and you've got some method of that being kind of recalled. So ideally in a text message or some kind of DM, PM, whatever. If it's just a verbal thing and you've had a chat, maybe on a Discord chat or over a telephone, mobile phone, if you've agreed a price over phone, it's really difficult. Although technically it's a verbal agreement in the eyes of the law, it's very, very difficult to prove unless you're actually recording the conversation, which technically you're not allowed to do because it's not admissible as evidence, because you're recording the call without them knowing, possibly. It's a nightmare. So essentially, make sure you agree on a price beforehand. Make sure you've got it in writing somewhere or that can be reproducible. So if someone turns up at your house, this happens all the time with cars. Someone will come to your house, agree a price for a car, they'll come around, they'll walk around it, kick the tyres, put some crap in the oil or the car to make it smoke like crazy, and tell you the head gasket's gone, then offer you kind of £400 for the £2,000 car and say, look, I'm going to give you this, you said it was fine, this is how much you wanted for it, it's not, etc, etc. So just try and avoid those situations. Be clear, make sure that, again, you've agreed the right money. If you're selling abroad, obviously there's the exchange rates to think of, and also if you're using some kind of thing like PayPal, if there's PayPal fees to be incurred, obviously make sure that you say to them, if you want them to do that, that you either use the PayPal friends and family to avoid those charges, or if they want to use the kind of more secure payment option, that you agree that one of the parties pays that premium. I think it's like 0.8% or 1.8% or whatever it may be, but just agree those things in advance and it saves things getting bitter or nasty later on down the line. Generally it won't do. Again, it's just something to consider. And also, if you do this to people when you're selling stuff or buying stuff, if you're doing it and they're not, it makes you appear to be slightly more professional at what you're doing. So if they are trying to scam you in any way, shape or form, then maybe think twice about it, because you seem to be pretty savvy. So learning these things and using these things to your advantage, because essentially that's what you're doing. I'm trying to help you to avoid making the mistakes that I've made through the years. So just a few simple things, just get them in your mind, keep them going, use this, and it will definitely help you. Here's another good one. I'm glad I made these notes, I really am. So state clearly beforehand, or maybe in writing, ideally if you can, give someone a handwritten receipt or a printed receipt and get them to sign it and you to sign it. I quite often will do that. I'll print out 2 copies and say, there's your receipt, just sign there for me and put a date on it. And it's got a list of all the parts that are in the PC. Also, it lists any things like any items that may have warranty or any items which are not in warranty. Again, make sure in advance you're clear that if an item has a warranty, that it's known. If it hasn't a warranty, if it's sold as seen, make sure it says somewhere in the advert, sold as seen. In some countries, there's kind of laws and regulations that even if it does say sold as seen, that you still have some comeback. So again, if you're a seller, then that could be problematic to you. So just make sure you're aware of your local laws and bylaws. And if you're selling outside of your country, then you have to take into account what the laws are in that country, because you're selling to that country. So any laws, say for instance, you're in Europe and I'm sending an item to you. In the United Kingdom, we have sales kind of agreement that there's a 12-month warranty on most retail or kind of sold items. Whereas in the European Union, that is normally 24 months. So if you're sending something and it goes wrong in 18 months time, they may be in the kind of mindset that, okay, it's still under warranty. Whereas you, obviously you bought it in the UK to begin with possibly, so you've only got a 12-month warranty. So again, that can land you in a kind of weird limbo land. So make sure that both parties are fully aware of any warranties that are given or implied. Wow, that sounded semi-professional, didn't it, Kath?
Yeah.
I'm getting good at this shit. There you go, there's another swear word. Do apologise, Mr. YouTube. Yeah, so check local list selling laws if you're liable for goods and service. That's a really important thing. Because a lot of people are under the impression that if you're selling something as an individual to another individual, that there's no kind of comeback either way and it's like sold as seen. That isn't the case in a lot of places. So do be very careful and don't assume anything. If you're not sure, you can always go to gov.uk for information on that sort of stuff, or your, what's the other place? I can't think what it is now. Can't think, I'll put it in the description later. Oh yeah, this is another one as well. Try, if you've bought something and you're selling it on, say for instance I bought this mouse and I got a receipt for it, but I kind of, I don't want it anymore, I'm going to sell it on. So in a lot of cases you can actually transfer a warranty. It's not always the given, but more times than not warranties will be transferable or will be honoured. Honoured? Will be honoured. Wow. Whose teeth have I got in tonight? They will be honoured if you've got a... Who asked you?
Listening in.
Anyway, so yeah, if you've got a receipt, more times than not, most companies will actually honour a warranty past the original seller. Some companies specifically will not do that. Restarting. Yeah, some companies deliberately state in their terms of service that warranty is for the original purchaser only, and they will not do it. Okay, find out, make sure that you know that what you're selling actually potentially has a transferable warranty. So that can also be used as a sales feature and also can safeguard you. So should anything go wrong with it after you've sold it, you can turn around to them and say, it's okay, it's not a problem. I'm sorry that it's gone wrong for you, but you can make a claim on this website, XYZ, and they will look after you because it has a 5-year warranty, which is transferable. Brilliant news. So again, check your goods, make sure that that is applicable, and make sure as well that warranties are transferable, because there's quite a few that actually aren't at all. So even if it's a month old, a week old or whatever, warranties are for the original intended purchaser only. So
They don't like you anymore.
They don't like me?
No.
Good.
You're being too professional.
Am I? Oh crap.
Do the moonwalk more like you.
I'll have to do the moonwalk. Finger moonwalk.
And
And dab in.
go and do it.
I can't dab and read because it covers my eyes.
You can what you can. Just one quick one.
All right, here's the last one before we end this topic. So the last one is be realistic. Don't be a dick about your pricing. So if you've got a, it's difficult to say now, if you've got a screwdriver which costs £1, which we've already established that's a £1 screwdriver. I don't think it was, but for this particular instance it works. So if you bought a screwdriver for £1, if you try and resell it for £10, that's a dick move. You shouldn't do that. And more times than not, people will know that this is a £1 screwdriver and will call you out on it, especially on Facebook, because everybody on Facebook has got a voice and can quite easily say you're full of BS. So don't do that. Obviously that is a bad thing, gives you a bad name. If you're planning on making a career or selling items on Facebook or anywhere, don't overcharge by crazy amounts, because you'll be found out eventually, and any business or goodwill you've built up will be removed very, very shortly once you get outed for it. And we've got a super chat come in, so we'll quickly deter off on that. British Dude says, can I have that screwdriver please? Here's £2. Unfortunately, they do come as a set of 6 with a wall holder. So they are available from the affiliate link, so I will put a link on the at the end of the stream. Where did they go? There you go. I do love these. I've had these screwdrivers for so long and they're brilliant. That is one of the best sets of screwdrivers I've ever owned in my entire life. Anyway, moving on.
It's the only set you've got.
It is, yeah. Go Saturn, Mike, do the moonwalk. This is not you. I don't like it. It's far too professional. Okay. It's broken again. Oh crap. I turned it back on. I have to give myself a super chat now. So yeah, going back to what I was saying. Also, conversely, don't go the opposite way. So if you bought a screwdriver for £1, it's probably worth about 50p to 75p as a used item, taking into account depreciation, all those kinds of stupid things, but it's still got a value attached to it. So don't think that just because you've got XYZ graphics card and it costs you £200 and you don't need it, that you might as well sell it for a tenner, because that's just crazy and people will take advantage of you. And definitely always check local things, eBay, sold items listings. CEX here in the UK is really good for getting valuations for second-hand parts. Facebook Marketplace as well, do a quick search for the item you're trying to sell and see who else is selling it in various areas. You will find there's various differences from area to area, depending where it is. You do find some areas which are generally slightly less affluent, the prices will generally be lower. Obviously in higher income areas, you will pay a little bit more because that's just the way the world works. But just check what you're selling and see what other people are selling it for. You don't necessarily have to be the cheapest if you can offer other services, like it's in a box or it's really well looked after, or you've got a receipt, you can pass on a warranty, those kinds of things. Those are all things to think of which may make your product or your component more of an attractive proposition to a potential buyer. So just think about what it is you're trying to sell. It's all good. So yeah, I think that is pretty good. Yeah, so check your prices, don't be a dick, record your serial numbers, and basically try and safeguard yourself as much as you possibly can. Ideally, try and use a credit card wherever you can, because your credit card company will generally have some kind of fallback or a chargeback system if you're dealing with a retail company. If you're dealing with an individual or a company, PayPal, if they will accept it, is also a really good way of doing it, because PayPal does give you those extra layers of protection also. And if you're using your credit card, which is attached to your PayPal account, and using that to pay your balance with, then you've got protection from both PayPal, and if for some reason they decide not to get involved, you can then revert back to your credit card company. Yeah, certain prices, and depending on your credit card, there is kind of limitations of values, etc., etc. So do read your terms and conditions, just so you make sure that you're not gonna go out and buy something which is really risky and then go, it's okay, I'm protected, and then find out you're not, because that will suck major balls. Don't want to do it. Okay, so that is pretty much it. If you've got any other tips, suggestions, or anything, this doesn't get very hot either. If you've got any tips or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Always really useful. I don't think there's anything I've really kind of left out on that. You've got the preparation of the goods, you've got the selling, the packaging, the insurance, and then the kind of after sales and all that kind of stuff. I think I've pretty much covered most of the bases there for both sellers and buyers.
About receipts, obviously.
Yeah, I mentioned briefly on receipts. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, actually, if you turn up to someone to buy or sell something and you've got 2 copies of receipt ready to them to sign, that's a really good thing to do. It shows professionalism, and it shows that you're not a noob at this and you understand the game and you're protecting yourself. So if they are trying to do a fast one, yeah, sorry, I'm smiling away. I'm just thinking of a really stupid thing that Kath and I did a while back when we bought something which was such a high ticket item, and we did it in such a stupid way. It was guaranteed that something would go wrong. I'll tell you about it in a minute. I gotta get a drink.
Okay.
Sorry, can you pass that over? It is quite an interesting story. It's a stupid one. Angel Churchill says hello. Hello.
He's going to bed now.
Love a cup of tea. Right. Okay, so yeah, this is David Aiken says, screwdrivers live longer with sewn axe. There's definitely a jingle in there. Nugent says, if I sell my PC, do I need to clean and install Windows 10 or just delete all of my important files and accounts? I would say, don't take this the wrong way, but the fact that you're asking that question, I would say personally it's a safer bet for you to wipe it and start again. Now, don't take that disrespectfully, because I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but what I'm saying is, if you're not sure if you should do either, maybe you don't know where all the individual files that could be potentially hazardous to be left on there, where they might be on the PC. And pretty much most PCs are different where files get distributed. So easiest way is, if you're not sure, yeah, nuke it. Get your license key off it. Excuse me, coffee went down the wrong way. If you're not sure, yeah, nuke it. Download the latest version of Windows 10 on a USB stick and just restart it, reinstall over the top of it. That is definitely the easiest way of doing it. You've got the issues then of getting things like drivers downloaded and that kind of stuff, so it's kind of swings and roundabouts. If you're not entirely sure, I have done a video on it, on how to do a Windows 10 install and how to get rid of your personal files, which I'll try and see if Kath can find it and see if you can link it into the chat. I think it was a similar title to this video. I think it was how to sell a PC, I think it might have been. I don't know, it was years ago.
Prepare a laptop for sale.
It might have been something along these lines, yeah. We'll see if we can find it for you and we'll put it in there. British Noob says, tea in this hot weather, what is wrong with this world? Well, tea is actually refreshing, more so sometimes than a cold drink, which I always find very odd, but it is actually, I do feel quite refreshed now after warm tea and the effervescence of the tea bag. Very nice. Oh, sometimes I'm such a dick. Matthew Day has just brought up a fantastic point, actually. They say time is of the essence, and there's a good reason for that. If you buy something, don't leave it somewhere stuck in a box until you need it. As soon as you get it, open it up and take a look inside, because you never know if you've got the wrong stuff. And if you leave it past a certain date, some sellers won't give you that kind of that grace period of something going wrong. We've had a super chat come in, so I'm going to have to manually adjust this. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I'm going to have to take a serious word with my disco ball later with a bat. Nugent says, thanks, Mike. Well, thank you. Thank you for the £2 super chat. And if you do want to get any help or anything with actually getting your PC ready for sale, we've got our Discord channel. You're more than welcome to hop on there and go through, and any questions at all you can ask away, and we can do it in a more kind of more intimate environment. Not intimate as in intimate, but you know what I mean. There's not all these people all in the chat as well. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. Captain Meaty's Adventure says, Mike, have a beer as it's my birthday. I would do, but I've just had some paracetamols for a headache, so I better not because I'll be spewing everywhere. But thank you anyway. Oh, Cap's put the link in there. How to prepare a Windows 10 computer for sale with full erase. There we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Ironbore 576 says, hello. David Aitken says it gets pretty steamy on Discord. King of Kaif says, wow, I've had my R5 3600 sitting in its box unopened for a month now. Should I open it and check it out? Yes, definitely. I would, well, if you haven't got anything to test it with, it's probably not that easy, but I can't believe I'm having to go manual old school on that rubbish.
Like me with these lights.
Yes, right, yeah. I know I can't feel now having to turn these things on and off. But yeah, definitely, if you've got any parts, check them, because if you've been sent something and it's got a certain warranty, I know Amazon, for instance, they do have a good warranty system, but generally within the first 28 days, they just, no questions asked, they'll just be able to send stuff back. After the first 28 days, it gets a little bit more tricky. So yeah, I would definitely consider, if you have got something that's hanging around, open it up. Matthew Day ordered some stuff off somebody and was supposed to get 8 gigs of RAM and ended up getting 2 2s rather than 2 4s. And the processor was supposed to be like an FX 8350 or something, and a 4000 or something turned up. So yeah, check your packages when they come. It's safer if you can. If it's a standalone component or it's a laptop, or yeah, check it out straight away. Make sure everything works, just in case. Again, someone like eBay or Amazon or PayPal for that matter, they may even question you if you've had something for like 2 or 3 months and all of a sudden you say, I've just tried it and it doesn't work. They'll be like, well, why have you not tried it earlier? At the moment, obviously, you've got good excuses because of the whole COVID thing, but in normal life, most people would expect you to test items on receiving them relatively quickly. Definitely things like graphics cards. Graphics cards are a really good thing. If you get a graphics card, even if you haven't got a system ready, take it to a mate's house or something and test it. Make sure it works. Because there's nothing worse than, as for a buyer or a seller for that matter, for someone to turn around after like 2 or 3 months, especially those high ticket items, and turn around and say, oh, my graphics card don't work. And you say, well, why didn't you tell me earlier? I said, well, I've only just tried it. And you'd be like, oh. Because again, if they're trying to then claim from Royal Mail or whatever, it just makes things really awkward. So just test stuff as quickly as you can.
Paul McCarthy.
Paul McCarthy. Oh, there we go. Paul McCarthy, he's one of the Beatles, you know. Paul McCarthy asked earlier, will you be doing an MSI X570 Mag Tomahawk motherboard review when it is released? Your motherboard breakdown videos are excellent. Well, that's very kind of you to say so, Mr. McCarthy. But I don't know. I would say of any of them, that is the more likely one that I will choose. The B550s definitely haven't really floated my boat a lot, I'll be honest. And I was even today, considering going old school and going for the B450 Pro Carbon AC. Not even the Max version, just the AC version. So, yeah, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I have begged MSI already. I've literally got on my knees and wrote them an email and said, please, 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 love you long time, can you send me one of these boards for review? I don't mind, I'll send it back after.
They haven't got it.
But they're saying, we haven't got it, we can't give you it, Mike. We haven't got them. So,
We've asked for a date of when they will be.
yeah, we asked for dates of when they're getting shipments, and they're like, I don't know. Bernie MSI UK, how the hell are we supposed to know?
Supply chain.
Yeah, the supply chain is completely borked at the moment, so I don't know. No one really knows for sure, but I will, yeah. If I can, I'll get one. If I can't get one straight away, I'll probably buy one, just because I want to try one. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Paul. And I appreciate that, saying your motherboard videos are excellent. I really do enjoy doing the motherboard videos. I don't like doing the VRM testing stuff because that is so subjective, kind of like doing like a complete bulldozer attempt at destroying a board with thermal throttling and all that kind of stuff. It's out of my league, it really is at the moment. I don't have the amount of equipment and parts necessary to do that kind of testing. So I go through the things that they miss out on those other reviews, like what pinouts are on the board, what headers have you got, what's included in the box. Just little things like that, which often get overlooked by just the pure power numbers, which I appreciate knowing the information because generally it's not out there, so that's why I do it. And if you guys like it as well, well, that's bloody awesome. Bloody awesome. Oh, Matthew Day says the processor was supposed to be another set of RAM. Awesome. Cheese Noodle Man says, hi Mike, did you post a video on Discord dropping your calls on iPhone? No, not yet. No, I still haven't worked that one out actually. I've done the Android one, but the iPhone one is a completely different thing altogether because Apple devices don't have the whole permissions thing as general. So I'm still looking into that. It's still a little bit baffling why that happens. I'm pretty sure it's to do with the noise cancelling microphone, but I'm not entirely 100% sure at the moment, so I don't want to just release the video and say, yeah, turn off your noise cancelling microphone and it'll work every time, all the time, which actually, if you want to, you can try. I'm sorry for all of you out there which are not interested in this, but actually it is a valid point and I do get a lot of people asking this. So if you want to, you're more than welcome to try it. Just turn off noise cancellation in the accessibility settings and the microphone, just turn it off and you probably find it's absolutely fine, but I'm not 100% that is the be all and end all to it. So yeah, give it a go and let me know how you get on. Doge is going to play some CSGO, says thanks for the stream. Did I say that just now or did I just read it just now? I'm having a bit of a senior moment. Ricardo says, I'm about to cry. A client of mine bought an AMD 3900X and I have to build it on Thursday. So sad. Well, let us know how it goes. Should be pretty good. Aletta said, on Monday I traded a Ryzen 5 2600 for a couple of Burger King Whoppers, lol. Is that code for something else? If not, that's a great idea. King and Kife says, I'm hoping the virus problem is easing up on the supply chain. Can't find a decent PSU for a good price at the moment. Yeah, that is a big problem at the moment. It genuinely is. There's a lot of stuff going on. I think that is partly what is kind of giving me my conflict over this little box of tricks and what to do with it, because it works. It does what it's meant to, but I really am itchy to try some new stuff. But there's other new stuff in the very, very short term future, hopefully. So yeah, there's always things to buy and always things to consider. I wish I was more impulsive or had an unlimited budget. That would make life a lot easier. Wouldn't it make life a lot easier having the lottery winnings behind you? Just say, yeah, well, I'll try that this week, I'll try that week, and then I'll try that again that week, because hey, why not? Wouldn't that be fun? Anyway, I think that pretty much draws us to the end of tonight's stream. Thank you all so much for bearing with me and listening to my rantings. If you've got anyone to blame for me ranting, it is Skystalker. As I said, I have not got a clue what I'm going to talk about in tonight's stream. He said, oh, just rant on, it doesn't matter, it's fine. So I did, and hopefully it has been. Hopefully it's not been too painful, and hopefully you actually maybe you've learned a little bit from it. If you have, awesome, let me know in the comment section below, that'd be great. If you can, before you leave us tonight, click on that like button, and if you can, do us a favour, share it on your social media. It really does help to get the message out there and help the channel grow, which is a good thing for mostly me, and possibly you guys, because you get to see more stuff. But anyway, that brings the stream to an end. Thank you all for the super chats and for joining in. Hopefully you've had a good time in just taking your mind off the world at large at the moment, which is a pretty dire place quite right now. But anyway, that is it. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you guys in the very next live stream. Thanks for watching. And this is where I don't have the right window open, so I can't even close the stream. So let's do it for another 3 hours. Yay! I'm joking, I'm not going to do it for another 3 hours. I'm going to click on the end stream button. Night everyone, thanks for joining us. Take care. And eventually this will come up with the end stream button. It will. Thank you. Night all.